hour long, but I listened to every single bit of it.
Oh, you did?
I did.
But
I
it's
did.
3 hours, what, 40
Yeah,
something
3 hours,
minutes.
46 minutes.
Yes.
And I listened to it, and for a moment I thought I was watching a movie. Because I'm like, did this really happen to you?
Yeah.
Right? And you touched on a little bit, from what we had, that you actually went mad, right? So can we just start from there? Because it's a lot. It's a lot to unpack. It's 3 hour long. We only have 1 hour and a few minutes. So it's a lot. But let's just go back to 2020, right? It's a lot. 2 relationships. Of course, one was a girlfriend, one was a fiance. I mean, it's just too much. Okay, so let's see where we can begin. That is in 2020.
Yeah, I think for me, where it all began, I think where I realized things had gone really wrong was, I talk about it in the podcast when I was driving home with my fiance at the time and decided, let me just smoke marijuana on the way home. And that day, it wasn't the same as any other day. Before, it's something I had decided to do over a period of time. Like when you're depressed, you have nobody to talk to. And the funny thing, it's called it's the cast of fame, because a lot of famous people seem to have have a lot of people around them.
Yes.
But when you go back home and it's just you and yourself inside the house, there's really very few people that you can talk to. And so for me, I found solace in smoking marijuana. And for me, on that day when I was driving home with her, and I smoked, and it wasn't the same. I started seeing things differently, and I started feeling this connection to another world that was just it's hard to tell. But I think having gone to hospital, the first explanation I had was that you had an acute psychotic episode.
Okay.
Now, I think maybe, Doc, you can tell people
what exactly
acute,
that means.
what it entails for someone to go through an acute psychotic episode. Because for me, it was traumatizing, because you're seeing things that are not real, and they're not real in this world, but you're seeing them, and it's like you're inhabiting another reality altogether.
To you, at that point, is real. At that point,
it's very, very real, and that's why it's very hard. I think somebody was talking to me the other day and telling me that the difference between somebody who's sane and somebody who is not sane is that the person who is not sane thinks they're more sane
than the person who's sane. Yes, yes. So I want us to go back very quickly before I bring in Arthur. And like you said, you had a very promising career, right? And I want to believe you were, like so many people, especially so many young people, looked up to you. And so to them, you had everything. You had everything that anyone would wish for. You had, you have a supportive family, you have a very thriving career. You are just okay. You have the fame that so many people crave for. So at what point did you get depressed?
It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell. I think depression is something that happens gradually. I'll quote from my favorite movie, The Fault in Our Stars. But I'll paraphrase it. You get depressed the way you fall asleep. Slowly at first, and then all at once. So it starts with something, with events pile up in your life, and you keep avoiding them. You keep avoiding them. You keep avoiding them. You keep avoiding something that you know you should do. And then at the end of the day, you find that when you look back, you can't face yourself in the mirror, because maybe you've had an argument with someone. Maybe you've had an argument with your girlfriend. You don't want to talk about it. You wake up in the morning. You just go to work. So the conflict in the relationship keeps piling up, and you don't want to face to it. So at some point you get you look back and you see that you can't even have a free conversation with this person because there's so much conflict that has
happened over time.
Has piled up. There's resentment that's growing, and of course, I think the point that a lot of people in this business get to is you get to the point of pride that I really don't want to talk to anyone because nobody will understand. You know, and because you already, people see you in a certain way, you know, when you're appearing on
there's
TV.
a lot of pressure because you see, at the end of the day, when they meet you, they don't expect you to be quote unquote human. They expect you to be the Kimani that they know. So there's a lot of pressure. You can't really just go and say, hey, I'm not having a good day. No, it is Kimani. So to check the questions that in the show that you used to do.